welcome to my channel. My name is Autumn Embers and today I am building a 1940s Aries house. So this is part of my houses for the ages series, and when I came to the 1940s I was like, they don't really build anything in the 1940s. I think they just use what was there, so like Victorian houses or like Edwardian houses. I don't really think they really built anything up, which is a bit of a bummer because this whole series is about me building houses from that era, from that time. And so I was like, okay, what do I do? I don't know. But then I remembered there was a news article like a few years back now, and this news article was basically about this guy who was living in a 1940s Aries house, and the council was trying to move him on because this Aries house was not good for his health. It was kind of like falling to pieces, and he was like, no, you are not moving me out my house. This is my home. This is where I created some lovely memories with my family, because I think he had a family and grew a family up in that home, and he was like, no, you ain't moving out my home. This is my home, go away. So thank you to that stubborn guy. He made it to the news, and I remembered about the Airy house. So Airy's house are a precast constructed house built following World War II designer Sir Frederick Gibbard, and it was built between 1945 and 1955. Developed by Leeds-based builder Sir Edwin Airy in the aftermath of the Second World War. Airy houses were intended to use minimum amount of imported material using unskilled labour and depleted labour sources of the time. Exterior consists of precast concrete, which are used as cladding panels, which are attached to reinforced columns. Now, we don't have any concrete panels that are going landscape. We only have concrete panels that are going portrait and are quite chunky lunky. So I kind of had to use wooden cladding in a grey colour just to give it the concrete look. It's not the best. It would be nice to actually have some concrete panel cladding, but we don't have that, so I just had to compromise with the wood. Roofs were traditional pitched timber with a plain gable with plain tiles. They were quick, easy chip, short turn solution. There was a housing shortage after the Second World War. So they're not supposed to be like a really good looking house. They're not supposed to be like a really, wow, oh my lordy baldies, that's such a great looking house, get me moved in straight now. They were just there to do its job, get the housing shortage done and over with, and they were just there as a short-term solution. They're not supposed to last very long. And you would normally find these houses in the countryside, and they are also extremely difficult to heat due to the poor thermal properties of the concrete slabs. So I think that was one of the reasons the council was trying to move that old guy out of one of these houses, because they're not great. They're not supposed to last this long. But the 1940s interior, paint colours, so we have pink, cream, light green, red and sunshine yellow. Other 1940s characteristics of the interior include floral curtains with rich, heavy plush patterns, dark brown furniture. Linoleum flooring was popular as it made the tile effects more accessible. Second-hand furniture from 1920s to 1930s was the Art Deco era was used. Deep red club chairs. So when I was looking up the 1940s interior, there was a lot of YouTube videos of people converting their houses into a 1940s looking house, which was absolutely brilliant. Handy dandy, so I can now actually visualize what it would look like and actually see it with my own two eyes. And a lot of these places had these deep red club chairs, and they kind of really look like the sofa and armchair set that we got for the nifty knitting, and that nifty knitting sofa and armchair, it comes in red. So I was like, oh, that's just perfect because they look really similar, they really do, and it's my first time using the nifty knitting armchair and sofa, so that was good. I gotta use it, and it looked like a red club chair from the 1940s. So pantry room is essential for the 1940s. So in these pantry rooms there were no fridges, so we had stacked shelves which were used for tinned food, milk, butter, bread bin, like a bread bin, and flour and other bits and pieces. So they also had a cast iron auger. So you saw me put down 2 cooking stoves. They were trying to represent the augers because these augers are absolutely huge. They would take up like 2 stove slots we would have in The Sims, so I just used them to represent an auger. I did rip out the kitchen counters that I have put down at the moment. That's because like I said, I found some 1940s video clips of people renovating their house and making it into a 1940s looking home because they all love the 1940s. And there was this guy at the time, he was a 30-year-old man living in a 1940s home, and I just basically recreated his kitchen because if it was good enough for him, it was good enough for me. And the kitchen counters that he had in his kitchen were very similar to the country kitchen kit, which was brilliant because we had something similar that was great. And also the little like knickknacks of like bread bins and casserole dishes that we got from the country kitchen kit also came in very handy dandy. The country kitchen kit was perfect for this 1940s Airey's house. They also liked white appliances in the kitchen, but yellow was also popular. So I think at the moment the fridge in the kitchen is slightly creamy, so I tried to find a more whiter swatch for that fridge. I also put down some yellow overhead cabinets. That was just to try to introduce the colour yellow in a little bit more into the kitchen because this guy's kitchen had a yellow and green kind of wallpaper going on. I couldn't find anything similar to it, so I tried to implement the yellow a little bit more with the overhead kitchen counters and the flour jars or the bread bins and those little casserole dishes. And here you can just see me putting down the Parenthood kitchen counters, and now I've turned them around so they're now backwards, and I shuffled them into the wall because in this guy's kitchen he had like on the wall he had one half of the bottom half of his wall was a darker colour, and then there was like a little wooden band, and then on top of that wooden band towards the ceiling was another colour. So it's like a 2-toned wall with a band in the middle. And I did try to look for something similar wallpaper wise in the game. I really couldn't find anything, so I decided to use those Parenthood kitchen counters and just flip them around and shove them into the wall to create that 2-toned look. I could only really do that for the surrounding area for the kitchen cookers because I put those 2 pillars beside it, so that meant I could, use it to shuffle stuff in. But for the rest of the kitchen, I couldn't really do that because it was either the next door area or it was the stairwell area, and it would just got in the way a little bit. So I could only really do that around the augers that I got down. Also, rages were an important thing. That's how you got entertained. And floral patterns. Floral patterns were a must. So yeah, that was basically the interior of the 1940s house. So normally I would go through who was reigning at the time. So basically the same guy who was reigning in the 1930s, because he reigned from the 1936 to 1952. So during the Second World War, which went from the 1st of September 1939 to the 2nd of September 1945. Queen Elizabeth II, who was 18 in 1944 because she was 13 when it first started, and at the time a princess, joined the Women's Auxiliary tutorial service. She trained in London as a mechanic and a military truck driver. So rationing started on the 8th of Jan 1940, and every man, woman and child was given a ration book with coupons to buy baking, butter, sugar. By 1942, many other foods like meat, milk, cheese, eggs, cooking fat were also rationed. But by the sound of things, a lot of food was rationed. The only food that was not rationed was fruit and vegetables, but they were in short supply, so the government was really encouraging people, if they had room, to grow their own. So I do put down like a little fruit and veg patch outside in the garden. This place doesn't have a back garden, it just has a front garden. The one I am decorating has a bit of a side garden. The one next to it has no side garden. If you put this house on a bigger lot, it will have a side garden, perhaps a back garden. But I just felt for this home, it felt more appropriate to have a smaller garden, and I really didn't know what to put into this home's back garden, so I just kept it to a smaller lot with a front garden and a little side garden. So yeah, I do put down a little fruit and veg patch for this house that I'm decorating at the moment. So at the moment, I think I'm just doing the bedroom. This does switch up a lot of times. I do move this to the other bedroom because I then make the bedroom that I was doing into a bunk bed. It was my first time using the bunk bed, so I had a lot of fun doing that. So the bathroom, no, rationing, we're still on rationing. So food rationing in Britain ended on the 4th of July 1954, so it carried on even after the war. So bathrooms. Many families relied on tin baths in the kitchen for their weekly bath, and the toilet was located in the garden. So I was thinking of putting in a bathtub in the pantry / laundry room area, but I didn't really like the idea of your Sims bathing themselves in the pantry / laundry room area, and I just thought it would be easier and more playable wise just to keep all your bathroom stuff all together. And the guy from the kitchen that I was following, his bathroom was all put together, so I thought, again, if it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me. And also, I couldn't really fit it in the kitchen because there wasn't much room in the kitchen. I kind of struggled trying to get the dining table to work in there. It does work. I play tested this house. The only thing that I'm not too sure if it works or not is the laundry. So I haven't really tested the laundry line, the washing line. So I don't know if your Sims can put their washing out on the line, but I do know your Sims can access the tin tub washer thing to wash their clothes, because my sim was able to put in some bluebells to make the water smell nicer. So I know they can access that, but I'm not too sure if they can access the washing line that I put outside. Now, normally they wouldn't have such an ornate looking toilet, but it's the only toilet in the game that has the pull and chain, which was very popular in the 1940s. So I had to compromise with the fanciness of the toilet, because that toilet came in with the vampire pack, and the vampire pack has lots of Victorian looking stuff in there, so it's not quite the style, but it's the only one that has a pull and chain. So I was like, oh, right, whatever, let's go for it then. So yeah, shampoos and soap were also rationed in the 1940s. So I tried to look at other things that happened in the 1940s in Britain. Not much. It was pretty much dominated by the war. But I did find a couple films that you may have heard. They're mainly made by one guy. He did really well in the 1940s in films. So we have David Lean, 1945, Brief Encounter. We then have David Lean, 1946, Great Expectations, and David Lean, 1948, Oliver Twist. Now, normally when I do these Houses for the Ages series, I normally keep to Britain, the UK, England, what type of houses you would see over here in England and Britain, and then history. But there were a lot of films coming out over the pond in America that I recognised, and I thought you would also recognise too. So these were just a few of them, just some of them. So we have a 1940s Pinocchio from Disney. Then we have 1941's Dumbo. Then we have 1942's Bambi, again Disney. Then moving away from Disney slightly, we have the 1946 It's a Wonderful Life. So I watched It's a Wonderful Life last Christmas with my mum, mainly because one, my mum kept saying, oh, it's a great film, you should watch it. Two, the second reason was because in It's a Wonderful Life there's an angel called Clarence, and in Supernatural, which I found last year and I managed to watch pretty much all of them up to season 15. I couldn't see season 15 because it was being aired in America and not over here in the UK, which is annoying. But in Supernatural there is an angel called Castiel, and there's also a demon called Meg. Now Meg likes to call Castiel Clarence. I never got that reference, but my mum did. And so that is all reference to It's a Wonderful Life. And that is the second reason we decided to watch It's a Wonderful Life. And it's a good movie, don't get me wrong, it's a good movie. But it took so long to get to the crux of the plot line. Because it took a very long time to actually set up the storyline. And I don't think it helped that we were watching the film on a channel that has ads, so it pushed it even further, made the film feel it was even longer. So it's a good film, just took a while to get to the actual plot line, the actual crux of the plot. It took forever to set up the plot line. Okay, but I can see why people like it and like to watch it around Christmas time. Gives you a nice warm fuzzy feeling, it makes you feel good about yourself. So yeah, I did watch it. It took so long. But yeah, so that's basically what happened in the 1940s. As you can see, I'm just changing up the kitchen counters for the country kitchen kit counters. So here I'm just refining the living room, really trying to make sure what I was putting down said 1940s, because the 1940s, it wasn't that long ago, and there is a lots of information and videos online to find out what the 1940s interior was like. And so I was kind of anxious doing this, like, oh my god, I got no excuses, there's so much information out there, I need to make this as good as I possibly can get it to look. So I was just like refining the place a little bit, trying to get it as good as I could get it. And that fireplace, so I changed it up from the fireplace that I had. So the fireplace I had was the cats and dogs brick fireplace. I decided to switch it up because a lot of these videos that were showing off the 1940s interior, they had a very 1930s fireplace. Now the Art Deco fireplace that we have in the game, it's very ornate, it's very fancy looking, but the 1930s fireplace that I was seeing is a bit more plain, and it has sort of this weird marbly texture. And I found this fireplace, it was a bit big, so I had to scale it down, and I thought that if I scaled it down, the fire bit for the fireplace would be hovering hovering. So I scaled it down, tested it with my sim. It's not hovering, it still fits into the fire bit and I basically really like this fireplace because it has that weird motley marble-ness that I was finding for the other 1930s fireplace that I was seeing a lot. So that was great. The upstairs kids bedroom. Now for that I did modernise it a little bit for the kids bedroom because I don't know when the bunk bed update came, but for me that was my first time using the bunk beds, and so I kind of just really wanted to use the bunk beds and have a play around, decorate that room in the styles that I've been seeing around Instagram and on Twitter, and I just want to have fun using the bunk beds. So I did modernise it slightly. Just for the kids' room, I try to keep it more in the 1940s style for the adults' bedroom. So I put down a knitting kit. I think you can put that in some inventory. I haven't really played that much with the knitting kit, but I'm pretty sure you can just knit everywhere and in anywhere. So I kept going, like I said, I kept going back to the pantry because it was essential to get the pantry right. Like I said, I took the bathtub out of the pantry slash laundry room. Like I said, there was no room in the kitchen to fit it in. So yeah, I just placed it all in one, and if it was good enough for the kitchen guy, it was good enough for me. I'm really happy about this little detail. So I found a pantry blog thing that told you like, what do you put in your pantry, and it basically described what went on the shelves and what on the floor. So on the floor was some pans and a scales to weigh out your stuff. Apparently it was too heavy to fit on the shelves, so it had to go on the floor. So I was basically following that for the shelves. So in the living room, there was a little bit of space behind the sofa, and I was like, okay, what do I put there? I eventually decided to put a desk down. I couldn't really find any desk that was suitable for the 1940s, so I used, I can't remember what I used. It may have been a Discover University ones. It might be one of those chunky ones, so I put that down here. So outside, so like I said, it's not a looker. It's not the most amazing, wonderful looking place you have ever seen. It's very basic looking. So I knew the garden had to really step up its game. You know, it had to really look really wowzer. And so I decided to use the romantic garden flowers. And also because those flowers are also seen in the countryside, like the Airey's house. So I used the romantic garden flowers to make this place really looking pretty. I also found a garden template. So basically it was a border filled with flowers and bushes, and in these whole like bushes it was labelled 1 to 5, and the numbers were then correlating to what the actual name of these bushes were, and so it was just helping me out with like how to lay out your bushes and flower in a border, if that makes sense. And it really helped. I think it looks nice because I need a lot of help when it comes to gardening in The Sims 4, so that was handy dandy, and that is why I bordered out these borders with the fences. I do cover up these small fences with some low-lying spreading flowers so you can't see it, so it seems more natural. But that's what I used to create these borders because, yeah, this place needs a little bit of help, and I need a little bit of help with gardening, so I used that, and I think it looks quite nice. So, yeah, the government, did I say this? I don't know. The government encouraged you to grow your own because of the shortages of food and food rationing at the time. And so I put down a apple tree, a pear tree, and a cherry tree. I got them from the hidden objects debug section, so it's all ready to go. You can pick your fruit and harvest your fruit as soon as you move in. I also found some spinach, potatoes and mushrooms and blackberries in the debug item. I got my sim to plant them, so again they're all ready to go. You just need to water them to let them grow in a little bit. And potatoes were also an essential thing you should grow because they have vitamins in them that would ward off and help keep you healthy and ward off illnesses. They are also very starchy, so they would keep you nice and full. Bearing in mind, like I said, there was food rationings and you didn't get a lot of food at all. I managed to find what would be the amount of food you would have got. So if I can find it again, I'll probably pop on screen. It is in ounces, so I will try to convert it for you for in grams for those who doesn't understand ounces. So I will do that. So again, I'm going back to the bathroom because, like I said, there's a lot of information out there about the 1940s, and I wanted to make this as close to a 1940s as that I could get. I saw a lot of green bathrooms, a lot of green walled bathrooms with the multi-toned walls. So like I said, one half would be one texture, one colour, like tiles, and then the top half would be another texture or colour. So I tried to find a green tiled looking wallpaper type thing, and I used it in the pantry and the bathroom. Again, using that sort of like mottled marble look that I was also seeing a lot of, so that was great. I think that's base game, but I'm going to leave you guys here. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you have enjoyed watching. Also, hang on, before I leave you, in that florist area there you saw some pictures. That is by SimsSationalToo. I'll put her name in the description box below. Love her artwork, especially around sort of like Halloween time. She does some really cool, creepy, spooky looking stuff. But anyways, this is what I'm going to leave you. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you have enjoyed watching. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the day, wherever you may be doing. And say thank you and goodbye.